why don't cryptocurrencies work for payments today? Imagine a scenario like this. You go into a shop and you say, hey, can I pay with Ether? And the person says, what are you talking about? Everyone else is annoyed. Doesn't work. How about for micropayments? A lot of people in the cryptocurrency space are really hyped about micropayments these days. Only problem is that a lot of micropayment solutions recreate the exact same problem, where one person will go to a website and be like, okay, can I pay for this website with Lightning? No, sorry, we only accept this other one. So really, the main problem, the reason why cryptocurrencies are not useful for payments today in most cases, is that in order to pay someone, you have to be on the same payment network. The flip side of that is that if you want to accept payments, you have to accept a ton of different payment methods because somebody might want to pay you with one of these many options. The traditional payment space is super fragmented. So in every country, there's different payment methods supported. And if you're a merchant, you have to support a ton of different options because you don't want to turn away customers if they come to pay with something. The fundamental problem is that payment networks at their core are disconnected. There are different payment systems from banks to blockchain systems, mobile money networks, etc. And all of them are disconnected from one another. This has given rise to a lot of people talking about the idea of the Internet of Value or Internet of blockchains or payments, or kind of pick your favorite term, but it's this idea of the Internet of money, effectively. And the reason that we talk about that is because what we need is an internetworking system for payment networks. And the word internet actually comes from internetworking. So what we need is a system that just connects up all of these in the background and just makes it work. Internetworking on the internet is really what makes the magic happen. So when I plug into the internet, I don't really have to think about how it works in the background. I just plug in, and suddenly I'm connected to everybody else. That's the magic of internetworking, where I can be on a completely different internet service provider than you are. I plug in, and it just works. Unless you're trying to do video calls. Those almost never work. So how do we solve this payment problem once and for all? We go back to this idea of the Internet of Value. How do we create this internet-like system for money? As many of you know, Interledger has taken a lot of inspiration from the history and the architecture of the internet itself. We started with this very, very shallow analogy to, actually, before we were thinking of the analogy with the internet, we were thinking about the analogy with the web, the value web. And it was a very, very shallow, like we want it to work kind of like the internet does, but it was a shallow analogy. And as we went on, we started copying more and more and more from the internet itself, and realized the systems were there was actually really good parallels with that. And why copy from the internet? One thing that I think is so amazing to reflect on is the fact that the internet was designed for computers that looked like that, but still works today because it was designed so well with these nice abstractions that it's able to work with the computers and phones that we use today, even though it was designed for this clunky old technology. Many of you may be familiar with this, but this is the diagram of the internet architecture, commonly referred to as the hourglass architecture. What this shows is that the internet's built up of a layered protocol stack. There's many, many different layers to it. At the bottom layer, you have kind of the nuts and bolts, the things the wires that actually make up the internet. And there's a lot of different types of systems for that. There's wired, there's wireless, etc. On top of that, you have this very, very simple internet protocol. And all the internet protocol says is, I have this packet of data over here, please get it over there. And it defines a way to express where over there is. That's it. That's all the internet really is about at the core layer. On top of that, you can build a lot of different application-specific protocols and technologies. So that's everything ranging from HTTP for the web, SMTP for email, etc. So when I say we've borrowed a lot from the internet stack, we've really borrowed a lot. And so this is the Interledger architecture. At the bottom layer, you have your blockchains or your centralized ledgers. On top of that, you might have scaling solutions like payment channels, if you're familiar with those. If you're not, don't worry about it. On top of that, you have the Interledger Protocol, which is, again, really, really simple protocol for just defining, I have this packet of money, please get it over there. And on top of that, we can build all kinds of cool applications that we'll get into this weekend. So some key features that I'll just highlight very briefly, not really going to dive into them, but I think it's worth calling out. some of the main things that we learned from with the internet is, number one, it's an open standard, so that's super important. Two, it's about connecting different networks, so it connects independent operators rather than requiring everyone to be on one network. It's use case agnostic. That's also really important when you're thinking about how to design this kind of system. The internet doesn't care what type of data you're sending, it's all just packets. And then the last one, as I mentioned, it's all just packets. So that was a really key part of the internet, and that was kind of the last, one of the later big things that we learned from the internet was the importance of packetizing transactions. So the internet, when you send a big file over the internet, it splits it up into many little chunks and sends it over as that. And that makes it, the core of the network, much, much more efficient because it's all just homogeneous, homogeneous packets. So with Interledger, again, open standard, connects different types of networks. It's use case agnostic, and it's about doing packetized money. So some people have heard me say this before, but I'll throw it out to the audience. What is Interledger's total addressable market size? All the money. Nobody wanted to feed it. Yeah, it's all the money, because what we're really talking about with this idea of the Internet of Value is creating a single global payment network that connects literally everyone and processes maybe not 100%, but 90+% of all the money. That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. All of the money. Not just your fiat money. We're talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about Ether. We're talking about ADA. We're talking about Monero. We're talking about Casino Coin. We're talking about all fiat. We're talking about things like gold, things like real estate, things like whatever you want to move value through is going through the Interledger Protocol. How much money is it going to move? All money. And you really sit back and you wonder, why do we have people that really and truly hate on Ripple and they hate on XRP? But, it just goes back to realistically, and some people are going to be like, man, whatever. But it just goes back to realistics. When you're a winner, you have haters. I call them my fans because I feel like they motivate me to do more, to work harder, because they always show up, whether it be in the comments of a stream like this or whether it be in normal everyday life. I grew up as an athlete. I grew up playing ball. I've played in state championships. I've played in the Little League World Series. I've played in big time championship games, and there was always haters there. I see it in my 13-year-old that is 6 foot, 170-pound stud that is playing sports now, and I see the hate in which he gets. And it's not going to be any different when you have something like a token that was created, a digital asset, a cryptocurrency, whatever you want to call it, one that was created that really and truly did not do what it was supposed to do, but then you have one that comes right behind it and fixes all the problems. You're going to have haters, guys. That's what it is. You have to put the nonsense in your back pocket. You got to turn off and do your own research. You got to turn off the ears. You got to turn off the eyes of everything they're seeing. And you have to trust in yourself. You have to dig down deep in yourself and look into what it is that you're researching, what it is that you have going on, and you have to trust in yourself. If you don't have trust in yourself, you don't have anything, guys. And at the end of the day, I've done 2.5, almost 3 years of research into where my investment is. And I tell you, I put my money where my mouth is, and I put my money in the winning project that I see going forward. Everybody says, well, XRP is a security, and you're fixing to find out, and you're fixing to lose all your money. And I tell you what, guys, I tell you what, if XRP is a security, I'll stand up loud and proud, and I will tell you, you are 100% right, because I'm an honorable man that will stand up and say, hey, okay, I was wrong. But at the end of the day, I do not feel like I'm wrong. I feel like I've done enough research. I've connected enough dots to understand exactly what is going on, but I also understand that it's not going to happen overnight. I also understand that this is going to take time. We're going to have to wait this thing out, because literally we're connecting all the money. And it's going to take time to play out. It's not a get-rich scheme. It's not something that is going to happen overnight. We have to let them put their head down, do their work, and get it completed and move forward in the ways that we think, that we connected the dots in the ways that we in our minds what is actually happening. We have to let it play out, and we have to let it happen. It is 2020. We are closer now than we was in 2019, than we was in 2018, than we were in 2017. We get closer and closer every day that goes by, and we see it playing out. We see the partnerships, we see the real use case, and we see where things are going. Am I saying that this thing is going to make us all millionaires? Absolutely not. There's not going to be where everybody is a millionaire out of this thing. Everybody has different investments. Everybody has different investment strategies. Everybody has a different game plan when it comes to an exit out of this market. Not everybody is leaving here a millionaire. But is there going to be profits made? In my mind, I don't see how there can't be. I'm not telling you to go put your money in any project. I'm not telling you to go and make an investment choice on anything that I'm saying here today. But what I am telling you is to dig in, do your research, and understand that the hate and the FUD comes with the territory of being a winner. Winners catch that, but winners also know how to turn it off, not listen to it, and put their head down, stay laser focused, and move forward with the plans in which they have. That's what we all have to do, guys. We can't listen to these guys that are out here telling us that the dinosaur granddad of all cryptocurrencies is going to squash what we know and what we see on a day-to-day basis with all of the connections in which we've seen. It is not going to happen. I'm not saying at all that we got some digital assets in the top 10 that are just going to disappear. But what I am saying is they will move across Interledger Protocol. All of your digital assets that move, whether it's moving through the Lightning Network, whether you're moving through Ether, whether you're moving through ADA, no matter what you're moving through, guys, it's all going to touch Interledger Protocol. And we all know what the Interledger Protocol, what the shapes of that looks like. And we understand that the bridge asset that's going to connect everything together is a very important bridge asset. And it's not going away. It's not going to zero. It's here to stay. And it's going to connect the world. Excuse me. Do your research. Dig in. Know what it is you're investing in, and stay strong. Don't doubt yourself. Have trust in yourself. Have trust in your research. And at the end of the day, you will be rewarded, because that's how it works. Hard work reaps reward. Guys, I love every one of you. I'm hoping you're having a blessed day. Always remember, love God, love others, serve both. We may not have it all together, but together we can have it all. Please like, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.